Hi, listeners. This is Maloree Johnson from WXAV 88.3 FM Chicago. I am here with Scarlett Seven. Scarlett Seven just released their debut album on iTunes.
What's up? My name is Maloree Lee, and I am a singer for Scarlett Seven.
Hey, this is Colleen Francis, and I'm the other singer for Scarlett Seven.
This is Austin Decker. I'm the lead guitarist.
And this is Andrew Malone, and I'm the rhythm guitarist.
Each of you, what is your musical background?
I grew up in a musical family. My dad won the Gong Show in the 70s, his little claim to fame, and my mom is a singer, and I have musical siblings, and background-wise, I'm obsessed with Muse.
I also grew up in a pretty musical house. My mom taught me how to play piano, and my dad started teaching me how to play guitar. Andrew's kind of taken over recently with teaching me more guitar, but I grew up doing musical theater and songwriting, and yeah.
I actually didn't grow up in a musical family at all. Quite the opposite. No one in my family really played an instrument. And me, myself, I hated music for a longest time. I would tell my mom to turn off the radio or whatever she was listening to when we were driving around. I hated it. And one day I broke my leg and was really bored. My godsister had given me a guitar years ago, and so I kind of picked that out of my closet and started learning how to play little simple folk tunes on it. You know, standard like Mary Had a Little Lamb, or Mary Had a Little Lamb, and the national anthem kind of stuff, and just kind of took off from there. Started getting into more, just wanted more music theory, and then progressively heavier music from there. Started taking lessons, and somehow I ended up at Belmont, and that's where I met Colleen and Maloree.
I started like 8th grade playing guitar. My dad got me a guitar, but he wouldn't get me lessons until I showed that I could play every day for 6 months. And then had a really good friend who was really into music at the time too, and we kind of formed our first high school band. And then we released a couple albums in high school. The band was called Alley View. And then in college, played in a band called Circuit Sound, and just kind of kept up with it, and met these guys and started Scarlett Seven.
So how did Scarlett Seven come together as a band, and how did you guys come up with the name? I mean, I'm assuming the 7 came from the 7 members, but how did you come up with the Scarlett part?
Well, we were tossing around all sorts of different ideas for the longest time. What was some of the ones we were tossing around? I knew wasn't Scarlet Fever once there?
Yeah, we liked just the idea of Scarlet. I liked it because of Miss Scarlet from Clue, not really like the color, but it kind of ended up being that way. This is Lori, by the way. But I also really liked this name. I think me and Austin were talking about it. It was The Rumored.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. But it was really close to a band that already exists called The Rumors from a ways back. So that didn't happen.
One of the ones that we threw around before we settled on Scarlett Seven was the Scarlet Fever, and that was kind of like the last one that we had before we scrapped that idea and just kind of came up with Scarlett Seven. And once we said it in the room, it all kind of clicked with everybody, and we just kind of went with it.
It was one of those wait, what did you just say kind of moments, and kind of ran with it from there.
Okay. Now, do you guys have a record label?
No, we're completely independent right now.
Now, you guys are a newer band, but what advice would you give to others trying to form a band?
Oh my God, so much. It's like an experiment in the beginning. You just start, and you can try to have a set map for what you want, but you really can never predict what's going to come out when you jam with different people. So you just got to try it and see what works, and keep messing around your roles. Who's writing songs, who's the one writing the melodies, who's the one, coming up with the guitar riffs. Just switch those roles around until you find something that works really well.
Yeah. And on top of that, you got to listen to each other, because you don't know who's going to bring what to the table and on what day. Somebody could bring up a totally different idea one day, and you could have closed your mind about it and then missed out on a really great songwriting opportunity. And also just listening to each other's needs, because a band is a family. I love you guys.
Love you.
On my end, like we all had sort of a bit of an advantage coming from Belmont. You know, one of the massively well-known music schools in the United States. So we all had a pretty good background in either the music business side or audio engineering and production. Like me, Colleen, and Andrew were all specialized in more the mixing side, but we also dabbled in the music business side. That's where Lori got her degree in as well. So I mean that's kind of stuff's invaluable for people like wanting to start up music. You know, learn everything you can about the business. There's all sorts of ways to make money out there. You know, just there's all sorts of ways to get your name out there. You just got to learn the ways to do it. And the more you can effectively communicate with the different people in the industry, whether it be your manager, producer, the mixing engineer, whatever it may be, the more successful you're going to be because people can relate to you at that point in time.
For sure, and I would just add that just have fun with what you're doing. If you're not loving the music that you're writing, or you're not digging the people that you're doing it with, like what are you doing? So just make sure you've got a good situation and that everybody's all on the same page and having a good time.
Now,
And I'm good at amen.
did any of you have personal contacts in the music business that helped you form your band? Did you have anyone that was like pushing you to form the band?
That's funny because we do have contacts, but we pretty much organically formed the band. I mean, I think because we all have been educated in music business, we understand that there's so much that has to happen on the artistry level before you can dive in and try to make the business side work. So, I mean, we've only been together a year, so we've just spent the past year really trying to get our music down.
I think, let's see here. Colleen, me and Lori never had a class together, but we each had classes with one another, right?
Yeah. I had a seminar with Colleen, and that is a voice class where you sing in front of each other in kind of a bigger classroom setting, and then you critique each other's songs. So I got to hear Colleen sing for a good while before we were like, hey, we should really be in a band together. But so I got to really hear her and be like, dang, chick got some pipes, and I kind of want to collab.
And Colleen, you and I met in, what was it, studio production with Nathan Adam, right?
Yep, and we met, we did a project together, and Austin recorded a demo for me of actually playing with fire, which is on the Scarlett Seven album that just came out, and the newest version. So we actually really met musically starting on that song. So, I mean, we just have made the connections we've made and met each other and the people we know in the business pretty much through Belmont. We kind of owe a lot of that to Belmont and Nashville. So.
I guess the long answer to that is no, that we didn't meet through anyone directly through the industry. We just all kind of met by happenstance, and it worked out.
Now, what genre of music would you guys consider yourselves?
Well, we always say rock.
And maybe more alternative because of the melodic stuff going on with it.
And then, there's also pop elements within at the songwriting level. So, it's kind of like alternative rock with some pop influences.
It's like catchy rock. But not like Maroon 5. Not that. Like actual rock.
Most definitely.
I love Maroon 5.
I love old Maroon 5. Let's talk about Jane Maroon 5, okay? I'm just saying they kind of were a rock band at one time, and I don't know what I'm saying, but we're not
then they went total pop, but that's for Maroon 5.
Yeah. Like they had hints of pop. But I'm saying we have little crystals, little sparkles of pop, but we're not pop.
We're mainly rock, yeah.
We try to have a little something for everyone, let's see here. Like, virtual reality is pretty much a standard, just full-on rock song through and through, whereas, you pull up Falling Down, that's more of a ballad. Save Me, it's got that, breakdown part, like post-hardcore breakdown in there.
So you're hardcore.
Then you've got Sleeping with the Enemy, which has got some, funk tones to it. We tried to mix it up on there. It goes back to your question earlier about how the songs take place and how it all mashes together, and what Colleen was saying about everybody reevaluating their roles and who's writing this, who's writing that, and all that kind of stuff. When you merge all that together, you got a pretty interesting sound here.
Who were some of your inspirations when you created the album?
Muse, yeah.
Muse?
Muse.
I take it we all like Muse?
Yeah.
They are actually a good band, though.
I mean, really, just that epic rock sound.
I mean, a lot of people I listen to are like Protest the Hero, Coheed and Cambria, Seosin, more on that like alternative prog rock kind of side. But so there's some elements of that in there.
And then the drummer and I, Nick Vino, he and I like are really into pop punk, and like I've been stuck in the late '90s and early 2000s listening to that. And, so our influences come from all over the board, and I think that's what kind of gives each individual song its own, cohesive sound, which is pretty cool. And, even on an 8-song album, we can have quite a few things that, make it sound a little bit different each time, which is pretty cool.
What image do you think your music conveys?
It's a good question. I hope it conveys, I don't exclude the guys in this conversation, but, I do hope on my end I'm portraying a powerful female image through the words I write and the lyrics I sing. But as a band entirely, I just hope that it's just epic and it just comes across as just like melting people's faces off.
Yeah, and, a lot of people are like, where did the music go? With a lot of stuff that's out there these days. And I just hope people hear our stuff and hear our melodies and our chord progressions and are just like, wow, this is really good music, These are people that are passionate about what they do, and they've come together and they've created this beautiful sound that I walk away singing, just it's ringing in my ears all the time.
What are your guys' rehearsals generally like? Are they more spontaneous, or do you guys have like a set time?
We started off with set times, especially when we were really, in the beginning there's so much work that has to be done in order to get it all together. But eventually we were kind of more flexible and able to, have writing sessions on the side and practices on the side, and now it's pretty much a free-for-all. We just kind of get together whenever we can.
Collectively, what are your hopes for the future with Scarlett Seven?
Man, I want to have a song in a big old epic movie. Like, I picture falling down in like the Hunger Games, and like Katniss is like running through the forest and she's just crying, and everything is falling apart and cannons have just gone off and it's just going off in the background like crazy, and then all of a sudden these big like monster wolves come out and Save Me starts playing, and it's like boom, 2 of our songs in a row. And then when the credits are rolling, listen to me, music supervisor of Hunger Games, when the credits are rolling and everybody's walking out, they're grooving to the sweet sound of static. And that is the hopeful soon future of our music.
And that is why we love Lori, ladies and gentlemen, right there.
It was a good story, Lori.
Good story, Lori.
Good story, Lori.
Oh, man.
Into long-term, not just short-term, for me, long-term, I think about touring, and I hope that one day we can be able to tour to places where we have fans that we just haven't been able to reach yet. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, I have no objections to going on the road. It's something I've always toyed about in my mind, whether or not I want to be more the behind the scenes, and kind of settle in my place as an engineer, if I want to go out on the road. And then I start thinking, why can't I do both,
Yeah.
So I start doing that. I 100% want to take it as far as it can go. And if that takes us around the world, great.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, I feel like it's rare to find heavier bands like rock with girl lead singers. Do you think that's an advantage or disadvantage?
Well, we have 2 lead singers, so that's a double advantage.
Yes. That's my mind, Andrew. That's like what I was going to say.
My bad.
Double.
Sorry. I'll let the ladies talk.
No, you go ahead. I like it when you get in touch with your feminine side.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But for real, it's an advantage. I know a lot of girls that rock that don't have the lady balls to get up there and, you know, just do it. But, like, you've got me and Colleen, which we don't really have anything holding us back. It's just what we love to do. And you have us both up there feeding off of each other's energy, and then you see it happening right in front of you. It's like, whoa. Why aren't more people doing this? Why has only, like, Heart done this? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
I see a demand. I see a demand for it, and I know that our music can relate to that. I grew up a young girl rocker. We girl rockers are, 1 out of every 10 people you see, but they're out there, and I feel like girls who love rock are just so passionate, and they're the most involved fans I've ever seen. They really, really love the music. And so it's like the only fan base I'd ever want to appeal to, really.
Yeah, I also love the glamour of it. Like, I originally wanted to form a glam rock band and, like, wear, like, platforms and, like David Bowie type stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a girl, so it'd be super cool. And I was like, Colleen, like, we have to do this, and, like, we have to tie, like, scarves to the mic and, like, bring it back, like, Freddie Mercury style. I'm naming dudes, but because they did it, and I wanted to do it. Like Jem, like the cartoon Jem? That's what I've visualized for me and Colleen on stage.
And then I ruined.
Yeah, I mean, that goes into what I was saying before about how, you go into it with one idea and it comes out like... It's like an easy bake oven. You never know what you're going to get out the other side.
Now, you guys just released your debut album. How exciting has that been, and what's been the feedback?
Oh, it's been so exciting.
Oh, yeah. Good.
We've received so much love and just all these people just coming out and just supporting us and, just telling us, just making us feel like everything we worked for, it's here now. It's alive. Forever, it's just been, we've been talking about it. We've been trying to make it happen, and now we have this actual, like, artwork that has been released to the public, and it feels amazing to know that people are listening to it, and we're getting all this positive feedback from places like Brazil, Sweden, France. People all across the map are coming to us and just giving us this love. It makes you love what you do to hear that.
Yeah,
It's worth it.
It's a pretty unique sight to, go on the Twitter feed or the Scarlett Seven feed and see these messages from people you don't know, you may never meet in your entire life. They're, maybe from the United States, might be from, some other random part of the world that you'll maybe never get to see in your life, but they're telling you that they love this thing that you've poured your heart, soul, sweat, blood, and tears into, and that it's this huge impact in their life, and they're so happy for you, and they're so happy to have it. It's quite the experience. I'm not usually one to get all touchy-feely, but I mean that definitely made me feel something.
Well, and you too, Austin. You also probably put the most into this because not only were you playing, but you also totally, completely self-produced the whole thing. So I mean, there's a lot of your touch on the album, which is really cool. But we started recording the album in January, and we had no idea how everything was going to end up. We planned to release the album in May, and nothing ever goes according to plan. So we kind of had to backtrack on the fans a little bit and say, we plan to release it in May, but if you guys just stick with us, and then we said maybe, by the end of summer, and, that got pushed back. And so we kind of felt bad because we knew the songs were good and we knew that they were going to end up being good, but, we wanted to, have a really fine, polished product to release to everybody, and that took a little bit longer than we expected. But, we're glad that, the wait paid off and that the fans are really happy with it because, that's why we do this. We're doing this for the music, and if that's what people dig, then we're happy.
Yeah, part of it. Go ahead.
I just literally want to be clear about what we mean by blood, sweat, and tears. Austin would sit there and hold an airsoft gun at us if we weren't getting our parts right. And luckily, I never got shot. Luckily,
I think I think I would do that to one person. That's because they were screwing around. Let's not bring that up.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, part of it taking so long was my fault. And they'll tell you that I am the most retentive perfectionist that has just ever been birthed under the sun. And so if it's not absolutely 100%, yeah, and if it's not absolutely 100% perfect to me, then it's not good enough. And if it's not good enough for me, then it's definitely not good enough for the people I'm going to be showing it to. So.
What was the most difficult song to write on the album?
It was difficult. Well, Playing with Fire took me 5 years, so I guess you could call it difficult. But that was because, I wrote the first half of it, and then I just hit a standing point, and it was kind of dead in the water. And when I met Austin, we started working on it, and he helped me finish it. And so, but I started that before we started Scarlett Seven, and I don't know, I would say Static. We put a lot of work into writing that all together, and we met multiple times.
And that was kind of the first song, so we didn't really know what was going on. And, Static's one of the more poppy songs on the album, and so we were kind of confused because, we didn't really go into this thinking we were going to be a poppy band. We definitely wanted the hard rock mentality and a, breakdown here and there, and so we kind of were a little confused at that, but, it ended up being one of my favorite songs on the album, at least.
I mean,
Austin, do you remember the time we were out on the porch? Because we were trying, I remember this moment of Static. We were like, we got to make this bridge, epic, man. Because, we have to. So I just remember sitting out there and having an aha moment with you, and then thus became the bridge.
I mean, that was probably what I was going to say. If you listen to the song from, a music theory perspective, it's very additive. It's been a while since music theory, so I want to say that's the correct term. It may or may not be, but the song is very it's non-linear. You think it goes from one place to another, and I mean that kind of shows the beginnings of Scarlett Seven. The disjointedness that we were having at the beginning. The song's supposed to be disjointed itself, and the lyrics are pretty self-explanatory on there. But I mean it worked somehow. It worked together, and it became what it is. It's one of our most popular songs, actually. I guess people like disjointed.
Personally, I would say one of my favorite songs on the album is Falling Down, and I know you guys already mentioned this a little bit, but what would you say is your favorite song on the album?
Well, Lori's is Best to Me, right?
Yeah, I love Best to Me so much because when Colleen first presented it to me, it was on the guitar, and it's good. It was pretty much what it is. But I remember we played it, all the band played together, and Nick is crazy pop punk dude. He's all this energy, and we're all feeding off each other, and I'm screaming the chorus because it's in this part of my range. And then Colleen was like, "Whoa, there's a lot more rock." I'm like, "What did you say?"
I never thought it was going to be such an intense song. And I mean, it's awesome.
I remember.
We're like, this is heavy. This is heavy, guys.
I remember you looking at me when we were first working on it, dude, dynamics, calm down.
Yeah, because it just keeps getting, and live, when we played it at 12th and Porter in April, it was super buildy. It's when is this song going to end? In building, it just keeps getting louder and louder, which was fun for us on stage, and it ended up sounding really rad. But I just think that song's got such a cool build and just so much energy, and I love the chorus. I love the harmonies. I remember singing the harmonies with Colleen and working on those and trying to get it right a million times with each other. I still have little voice memos on my phone of that.
Colleen,
I think Best to Me is a rad song.
Colleen, what's your favorite?
Oh gosh. Well, I and this is actually more because of the production of it. so it's thanks to you, Austin. But I really ended up liking Sleeping with the Enemy, which is funny because when I was thinking about all the songs from a songwriting perspective going into the recording process, it was my least favorite. And now, after everything's said and done, we laid all the tracks down, and it's my favorite. Every time I turn it on, I want to dance. So,
I gotta give the ups to Sleeping with the Enemy as well. It didn't really hit me which ones off the album were my favorite until I found myself in the car driving home from work one day with my hands out the window, just moving like I shouldn't because I'm not. I'm not good at dancing at all, with my arms out the window like an idiot, in the middle of traffic. So, Sleeping with the Enemy is definitely up there on my list.
Andrew, what's your favorite?
So I could have said Best of Me because it's a really good one, but I guess I'll go with Playing with Fire. And the reason is I wasn't really into the demo that Austin and Colleen put together, and I had only heard that version of that song other than the one we played live, like, all together. And that wasn't really like a Scarlett Seven, song when we first came together. But at the end of the album, when we were doing the album mixes with Austin, I just heard that song in a totally different light. And I don't know, it ended up being one of my favorite ones at the end.
Do you guys plan on releasing any music videos?
That would be awesome.
If we get the opportunity, why not?
That would be like my dream come true.
For what song?
Well, we talked about doing a zombie video for Save Me.
That song has its origins thanks to zombies.
That'd be interesting,
actually, what did you write it about? Left 4 Dead?
Yeah, there's a game series that I used to and still play. Like, I used to be in love with the game series, and I still play it every now and then. It's called Left 4 Dead. It's made by Valve. Me and a couple of my friends at Belmont, before I met the Scarlett Seven people, who would just play that game all the time. And then one day I'm like, why doesn't this have a better soundtrack? And so I just ended up writing the music for it. Had no words to it because I'm not a very... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Austin wrote, to complete your story, he wrote like this awesome music, like instrumental track, and put it on like the back burner, like the guy he is, like, who? And like, and he showed it to me I'm just kidding. I'm making fun of him because he's a perfectionist.
No, he's a attentive perfectionist, yeah.
Like, he would never put something on the back burner, but for some reason, like, the song just kind of sat there, and like, he was like holding out on us by like not showing it to us. And then he was like, well, I wrote this thing. And because we were like talking about things we wrote and like showing each other stuff in a co-writing little session we were having, and he was like, well, let me show you guys this thing. And like, he showed it to us, and I was like, what the heck, Austin? I was like, why haven't you done anything with this? And then like, I immediately had melodies in my head.
Yeah, the answer for that is that I'm not a lyricist at all. I'll have random epiphany moments with lyrics and, have a good line in my head every now and then, but I can't do what Colleen and Lori do. I can't, spin a song out of thin air. I can write music all day. I can't spin a song.
That's what we're here for. Yeah. We're here for you, Austin.
Yep.
We're here to save you. No pun intended.
What live performance experience have you had?
Live performance experience?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Our first show was at Andrew and Colleen's old house that was named Gray Bar. It's like what was it, like a 6-person house, Andrew?
Yeah, it was really it's a 5-room house. So the main gist of it was 5 dudes living there for college, and then we had the Halloween party, and we kind of took over the kitchen and basically set up a pretty intense stage, basically. And I think we had like a good 75 to 100 people at that just one house show, just throwing it together last minute, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it also was nice that we had connections. I mean, you had 3 audio engineers and people with connections in there, so we had like lights and a PA system. It was intense for a house show.
And it had actually good sound, because like we had good sound because these people knew what they were doing.
Yeah, so that was like our first show, and that was a year ago at Halloween. And then, after that, we started playing. We played a couple of shows at a venue here in Nashville called The End. But my favorite show we did was back in May at 3rd and Lindsley. That was just the coolest setup in terms of lights and sound, and the crowd was just rocking. And of course, it was the one show we weren't able to videotape, so we have no awesome video to show.
We also
So we have video, we just have no audio.
Yeah. We also had Mercy Lounge and 12th and Porter, right?
Right.
Yeah. We did that.
Mercy Lounge was super rad because we played a showcase event. So it's this thing through BMI, right?
Yep, BMI.
And it's called 8 off 8, and it's just this really cool showcase of local bands. We met some really cool bands there, and got to see them play. And we performed last, and it was super late because 8 bands had gone. But it was a super cool big venue. I mean, I had seen Anberlin play there just a few 2 months prior to when we played there. So it was super cool to be on the same stage that they had just been on.
Are you guys planning any tours for this 2013-2014 year?
Well, I guess. Well, I guess that we'll.
We've got to finish some school and do some work and plan it all out. But we definitely haven't ruled anything out.
Yeah, we're kind of in a weird position. Lori just got married. I'm getting ready to graduate. And so we've got some life, what do you call it in Facebook, a life moment. We got some life moments happening. So once we get those out of the way, I really hope that we'll be able to put it all together.
I mean, I guess the real overall answer to that question would be dependent on how the album fares. I mean, if we get, a lot more attention than we're expecting, and it goes, super crazy awesome well, and if anyone, large in the industry gets interested in us, then yeah, like Andrew said, we'll never rule anything out. If we get the opportunity to go on tour and we can make it happen, and it's going to be fun and it's going to be great, then absolutely we'll go at it.
Now, if you were to tour, you should definitely come to Chicago for one, but who would you want to tour with?
Oh, man.
It can be anybody.
Anybody?
Anybody.
Did you say Muse, Lori?
Oh, of course, it's going to be Muse.
Wait. I have a question. Alive or dead? Because
Okay.
dead
Both.
have many of people I want to tour with.
How about both? You can do alive or dead.
Oh, both?
Lori, why don't you go ahead, live and dead?
Okay. Alive, Muse. And possibly Chris Cornell. I would follow that man any project, whether it be Soundgarden, Audio Slave, or him just soloing it up. He's one of my vocal, main influences. Dead, Michael Jackson. And I would completely open, and we would do a glam rock show, and it would be amazing. and we would cover Dirty Diana, and it would be great.
Nice.
What about you, Colleen?
I'm not good at answering this question because I'm very much under the feeling that I would just be ecstatic to be touring with another band. So I don't know. I'll pass the torch to Austin or Andrew if either of y'all want to answer.
Way to make me look bad, Colleen.
Well, I'm sorry. I just, I didn't mentally prepare, and I don't want to shout out bands that I really wouldn't want to tour with.
Oh, man. For me, it'd be this weird mesh of all sorts of music. Coheed would be on there, Coheed and Cambria. Dance Gavin Dance would be on there. A Day to Remember would be on there. Oh, man. Who else could I think of? Metallica, older school Metallica. They kind of lost me to St. Anger. Moving on from that. Like Panic at the Disco would be on there, Protest the Heroes. It'd be this strange mix of people on stage who, might never, ever get together in their entire life, but have all dramatically influenced me in their types of music, so.
Dead would probably be Queen. Their tunes are so awesome, and being at Belmont, we got to work with some of the recording tracks that they use, and what they did with a 24 tape track machine is some of the crazy stuff that artists just don't do these days. But that are bands that are around today. I would love to tour with Blink-182 and Third Eye Blind and New Found Glory and all those pop punk late '90s rock bands that just make your head bob. There's this band right now called The Story of the Year that I just discovered that I've been jamming to hardcore. Those guys would probably be pretty fun to tour with too.
Until the day I die.
Story of the Year, Lori.
Did you say Story of the Year?
No, I said Third Eye Blind.
What?
We're just hearing things now.
Good story, Lori.
Moving on.
Story of the Year, Lori.
Oh, I said the story so far. The story so far, that's what I said.
I heard, sorry, same syllables, and you said story. And you know what else? It'd be really fun to play Warped Tour. I know, it's kind of more punky. I don't know if we'd fit in. I might look really weird walking around all those tour buses in, my weird clothing attire, overalls. And I have a pair of overalls right now that I wear out, and they have NSYNC buttons on them.
That's awesome.
JC Chazé's on it, and, Chris Kirkpatrick. It's just fun. It's I was going through boxes moving into my new house, and I found all these old Lori things from 1998, Lisa Frank stuff. And I found my NSYNC buttons and some Backstreet Boys ones. And I put them on my overalls.
I would 100% tour with Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. Justin Timberlake hit me up, bro.
Did you hear him, Justin Timberlake? Going off that a little bit, if you guys could meet any celebrity, who would it be and what would you do for the entire day?
Oh, my God.
It can be anybody, but they have to be alive.
Oh, man. I've met him once before, but if I could meet him again, it'd be great. I'd want to meet Steve Vai, guitar virtuoso. He has dramatically influenced my guitar playing. And I would just ask him to teach me stuff all day. That and maybe call up Ibanez and beg them to make me a left-hand version of his signature guitar. Since they never want to put it back in print.
This is so lame, but I am so in love with Kelly Clarkson and Grace Potter that I would
I knew Clarkson was going to be your answer.
Shine their shoes for a day. I would do anything. I would just grovel at their feet and tell them how much I love them. But if it were a day that I really got to choose what we would do, we would write songs together.
I knew you were going to say Clarkson. I knew it.
I'm sorry. I was going to try not to, I know we're a rock band. I know we are. But I just, I got to be real. Got to be real.
Got to be real.
Yeah. My celebrity would be, I'm really into movies and TV shows, and one of my favorite directors is Christopher Nolan. He did the Batman movies and Inception, so hanging out with a really kick-ass director like him and just being on the set and just seeing behind the scenes of the movie making industry would be pretty sweet for me.
Cool.
And then Lori?
I really don't
okay.
know. That's a really tough question. Jeepers. Has Austin gone?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I was the first one to go, but
I mean, I would love to talk. I just love Muse. I can't help it. I tweet about this band because it's three people, and it's this beautiful sound. So yeah, Matthew from Muse. I would love to write some music with him. I think our voices complement each other as well. I would love to do some guest vocals. I'm free if you want to call me. And I know all of the harmonies to all of your songs, mainly the entire Absolution album, but also Origin of Symmetry. And I also took the time to listen to your older stuff, okay? Now, we're not going to talk about the Second Law right now, but I will sing for you for Absolution, hands down.
Matthew, on the off chance you hear this, we did do a cover of Stockholm Syndrome. You can check it out on our Reverb Nation page.
Also, tell Kate Hudson hi.
Oh my God.
And I would love to meet her as well, by the way. I'm not just talking about, I have a crush on someone, his name is my husband. But I would love to meet you and your family and possibly write music forever. Maybe even for you. But I don't need to because it's so beautiful. I don't know what I'm saying.
What can we expect from Scarlett Seven in 2013 and 2014?
Well, I mean, we're already talking about the other album.
Yeah, we're already.
Right, like the week before we put out our self-titled, we like sent each other 3 different like ideas to each other, just like, hey, you should hear this because I wrote it. I know I sent Colleen at least like 1 or 2, and she sent me something.
Yeah, and since then I've written like 2 more songs just out of the pure like desire to release more songs.
Yeah.
And now that I don't have the album to work on, I've been taking to writing music again. So I've sent them a couple of like, here's a couple of ideas, put words to it.
And we had a few ideas that didn't end up making it on the album, so we're definitely in the process of maybe starting some pre-production here soon to keep pumping out the music, because a lot of our fans are international, and that's who we're getting a lot of interaction with on our social media. So as of right now, that's the best way that we can reach everybody. So just keep pumping out the tunes.
And at the same time, though, if we were to get contacted tomorrow by like the RCA Records or something like that, and like, we want to add you on, and your tour starts in a week. Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to be flexible.
Do you guys have any last words before we end this to the fans?
Yeah. I've just been so ecstatic about this past week and everyone who's come forward and ended up being involved in our album release. And I just want to thank everyone who's been a fan from the beginning, and also all the new fans we've gotten over the past week who have just come out for this album. And if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure to check out Scarlett 7 on iTunes. And
Yeah.
I'll be thanking you too someday.
Yeah, and just to build on Colleen, we couldn't do this without our fans. They were there. We've got people been there since day one, since we put up like a little introductory YouTube video being like, we're going to record a demo and possibly show it to you. Like, we have people that have been there, rooting for us. And we've been really, building off of their energy, and they're just like, them wanting to hear us. It makes us feel like, okay, well, this is what we're doing this for. We do this for our fans. We mainly do this because we love it. It's what we all love to do. But knowing that we're doing it for a fan base and for people that really want to hear our music, it just makes it that much more spectacular.
And the fans, they've built so much of our band that it's even hard to realize. Like, our fans made our album artwork.
Mhm.
And
yeah.
so we owe so much to our fans at this point, because they've not only been involved, but they've kind of created what we are. So.
I mean, if you look at our stuff, like, you'll see postings. If you go back far enough on our Facebook page, you'll see postings. People have made websites for us that are dedicated to just different countries. Like, there's one for Germany, there's one for Italy. We had no involvement in that. That was just something that the fan base has taken up on itself, and that's just one of the most astounding and amazing things that I've ever seen. People do for someone they've never met in their entire life. It's just amazing. So yeah, that's to build on what they were saying. Just, again, thank you for listening to us tonight. Thank you for being there, and we're glad.
We love you.
Yeah, we're so glad you enjoy the music.
Yeah, it's a pretty humbling experience when you've got something that you've poured so much of yourself into, and they just come back and appreciate it so much, and just love what we've been doing. And I'm sure a lot of them think that we're crazy rock stars living the big life, but we're just normal people like them, trying to do something that we love. And the interaction that we have with them is just incredible, and we owe everything to them, and we hope that we can just keep making everybody happy and writing music that people can bob their heads to.
Thank you, Scarlett Seven, and thank you, listeners. You are listening to WXAV 88.3 FM, Chicago.